Welcome, everybody, to our virtual luncheon with David Beahm. We are excited everybody's here. I know we're all in month two of this, but we've got a really wonderful program, and we're glad that everyone is with us today. Thank you all for being here. We invite you, even though we're not here in person, to be social and like our Facebook page, which is Society of Wedding Professionals. Also check in with Facebook, Instagram, and Twitter with the hashtag SWPDFW. Post a screenshot at some point today of your Zoom, our Zoom, all of us together. Of course, we still miss seeing everybody, but this is as wonderful as we can be in our present time. I would also like to thank very much Debbie Cohn with Letter Art. She designed our very wonderful online invitation, and we thought she really captured the essence of Zooming. So thank you very much, Debbie. I would also like to thank pretty much everybody on the SWP board and so many of our members. As you all know, I am not very technical, so I want to give a huge shout out to Alex Stein, our second VP and our Zoom Tech extraordinaire, along with Rebecca Hackle. She knows just about anything and everything on the Google side, and always appreciate her. Makisha Miles has also done an amazing job with our membership and keeping everyone members and happy and healthy. Hala Asghar, who planned a wonderful slew of luncheons that we hope to get to. This one is taking the place of our regular luncheon, which would have been at the Hotel Lorenzo. So instead of a beautiful set place and a glass of wine, we're kind of down to, bottled water and some chips. So hopefully we will get back to our wonderful moments of lunch soon. Pablo Figueroa, who has done such a wonderful job with our programs and programming, so thank you. CG Tipton, who has assumed the Director of Media and Public Relations role on our board. She has been invaluable, so thank you, CG. And again, just Rebecca Hackle, who just does so much and keeps doing so much. We really, really appreciate you. So thank you all. I would also like to welcome our new members, Miss Hannah Saffel with Saffel Weddings. We are very excited for you to join us. And also Tess Novak with the Beahm Hotel, and Emily Ellebrock with Big D Party Rentals. We also have wonderful members who have renewed. We have Kiana Smith, who's now at the AC Hotel Dallas Galleria. We have longtime member Luana Stoutmeyer with Center Stage Band, and also another wonderful duo with Big D Party Rentals, Mr. Pete Willis and Melissa Tacker. So we're welcome everybody back to SWP. Thank you. Just very quickly, not knowing what to do in these different times, we decided to host a donation drive for all of you Marie Kondoing your closets, workspaces. We had a very successful drive benefiting the Family Place, which helps women and children in crisis. And unfortunately, a side effect of this pandemic has been that the Family Place shelter is beyond capacity. There's families even in hotels, but all of your donations that went to the Family Place are being sold in the reopened Family Place store, so that's wonderful. And we had all of you gentlemen who donated wonderful items to One Man's Treasure, which helps men being released from prison sort of re-enter the workplace. When our van driver showed up to pick up the items, he said it was the single largest donation he had ever picked up while driving. So I just want to thank every member, every friend, every one of our wonderful Dallas family. It really, really meant a lot to both of these organizations. And SWP was also able to make a monetary donation as well. So thank to all of you. And now I'm going to introduce or let
Karen, sorry, before we start, can we, and just let me know when we want to go over how the Q&A is going to work.
I think now is a good time.
Okay.
Thank you, Alex.
Of course. Before we get to, of course, the fabulous David Beahm, we do want to let you guys know. So if you'll take a look at the bottom of your screens, for most people, if you're looking at this in full screen mode, you will see there's a Q&A button. It should be right next to the participants. You can utilize this throughout the presentation to ask questions. If there's anything that comes up that you would like to inquire about. In addition to that, as a participant, there will be a little like a thumbs up button. So if there's a particular question that's asked that you feel is relevant and you would like to have this answered, please go ahead and click on that little thumbs up button. We will try our best to get to every question, but again, we do have limited time today. We of course want to make sure that we respect everybody's time and David's time as well. So we'll do our best, but the questions that get the most thumbs up will be the ones that we'll try to go ahead and get answered during throughout the presentation. So if anybody has any questions on how to utilize Q&A, go ahead and you can put that in the chat and we will try to get those questions answered. Otherwise, I'm going to turn it back over to Karen.
Thank you, thank you. Pablo, did you want to intro David?
Sorry, I was mute. Well, I don't have actually the script here with me. I just want to say that we have one of the greatest, human beings and professionals in the wedding industry here with us, which is a honor. Thank you, David, for accepting the invitation. You all know who he is. I actually got very lucky to meet him the last time that he came to Dallas, and I just fell in love with him and what he professes and everything that he knows. So thank you, David, again for being here with us.
Thank you, thank you. So without any further ado, we will turn the program over to Mr. David Beahm.
There I am. I'm unmuted. Hi, everybody. It's so good to see you again, even though I really can't see you, but I see these little chats going by down here. And like Alex said, please submit your questions on the Q&A, and we will try our best toward the end of the session to answer some questions. And we have a few pre-questions, but first I have a few housekeeping things. I want to point out that I actually ironed a shirt today for the first time since March, which is very weird for me. And I'm wearing underwear and pants. Thank you very much. And that's a big deal. Yeah, these are very strange times, and I don't need to tell you that. And I don't mean to make light of it, but I think we have to keep going. There are currently, as of this morning, there are over 1.5 million cases of COVID in the US. 1.5 million cases. Today in Texas, you are up to 51,080. Over your big state, you are one of 9 states where the number is increasing, with 1,405 deceased, with 176 in Dallas. So it is a real and present danger. Today in New York City, as of today, we had 357,757 cases in an area the size of your downtown. Think about that. with 28,437 deaths, with 6,248 in New York City alone. So our experience is a little different from yours right now. We're mostly a blue state. We're mostly Democratic, with many left-leaning liberals, and clients experiencing trauma that they've never known before. I think my client's experience right now is a little different from yours. We are not coming back for a while. We're looking at probably not having events until 2021, which is a really hard thing for me to say. I think it was last week that the reality of what we're facing and how to get to 2021 really kind of came to roost. I have faith, and I will talk about that, about we will get there. Just please know that no one knows the answers right now. But it's a totally different experience in New York. From what I understand, out there on the other side of the Hudson, my bookkeeper went to the office the other day just to pick up the mail and sort through some things. And if you know New York at all, Union Square is in the middle of town, and our office is all the way on the west side on the Hudson. And he walked from Union Square to 11th Avenue and couldn't find a cup of coffee in New York City. So it's a whole different thing. But what is the same is that we are all Americans. No matter what our political leanings are, we are going to have to be Americans and be a we instead of us and they. I think we have a hard candy Christmas on the way. But we have Christmas on the way. And that's the way we have to change our thinking. I know that I understand. Are you still, Karen, I think you're at 50% capacity?
Yes.
Your restaurants
Just,
can be 50%?
Beginning on Friday.
Beginning on Friday. Well, and we aren't, and you have wide open spaces and we don't.
Right.
So life is going to be a little different, but that doesn't mean that we're not all experiencing the same moral and economic quandaries of what's happening. We're all going to have different answers and different outcomes. I like to say we're all in different boats, but all in the same storm. And how we weather that storm, or how we choose to weather that storm, I think is why I'm here today. Masks are our new fashion accessory, and it's now a source of income for people, which is pretty amazing. I've noticed fashion designers are now, I saw swimsuits with matching masks the other day. You know what? Leave it to America. We can come up with it. But I guess before I get started, the one thing I want to say is I don't know what I don't know. My experience is different, but I don't know. You don't know either. Nobody knows. The high ups and the lowers. Suddenly people you went to school with seem to have science degrees on what is COVID, and it's a conspiracy, and all. Nobody knows. But we do know that we have to get from here to next year. And I think that's why I'm here today.
Truly, I think everybody around the country, here in Dallas, every time we all speak or get together, we're dealing with this new normal, but how kind of do we deal with this personally, and how do you keep focused, and how do you keep going?
I don't know if you remember when I was there, the last thing I said to you was breathe. And that is my number one mantra on how to get through this. Stop, take a deep breath, and move forward. And always keep moving forward. You have to have faith that you will get there, and you can't give up. Failure can't be an option. And by failure, I mean this failure here. Some of us will not make it through business-wise, but all of us will make it through personally. And that is a big point to keep in mind. We're going to have to learn collaboration. We have to learn what collaboration is, and you have to learn how to use it. Every Monday, 15 planner friends and I get together on a Zoom and just talk about how to approach the week. It's my competition. We all compete against each other, and we all sit in one Zoom room and talk. It's a closed cone of silence. You know, what gets talked about in that room doesn't get talked about out there. We all talk about how we're hurting and how we're getting through. And we have a week's assignment about what did we learn this week that's positive or helps us move toward our goal. Another big thing is you have to learn how to bob and weave. When you are doing boxing, if I'm coming at you, if your face is right there, it's going to get hit. So what do? It's bobbing and weaving. This has been a 1-2 punch that none of us saw coming, and a lot of us weren't ready to bob and weave. My CFO in February said, I'm taking everyone's credit cards, I'm locking down all spending, something bad is coming. And I was like, whoa, wait, you're getting carried away. Thank God he was prepared for that. Thank God he had pre-done a $250,000 credit line with our bank that was just sitting there in case of instances like this. So we've cashed that in and have the money sitting in the bank, hopefully not having to use it. But in case something weird happened, we cashed in our credit line and we're happy to pay the interest on it just to know that we have access to that money should we need it. Yeah, we got PPP. That isn't going to last very long. But you have to learn how to bob and weave. Everybody grab something at your desk. I'm just going to grab this glass of water. Well, now, Karen, you have a water bottle, but don't squeeze too hard. But hold it out straight. Now, tense your arm and feel the tension here and here and here and here and up here. And keep holding. How long do you think you could hold that? Maybe 5 minutes if you're holding it tense. Now switch hands and hold it gently out here. You could kind of go forever if it's flexible and you're not gripping. I hope that exercise makes sense. My bob and weave and be flexible is that if your mind is in a grip and it's doing this all the time, you simply can't think, you can't create, and you can't be creative. So if you live in negativity, that's where you're going to live. If you live in positivity, that's where you're going to live, and you're going to attract that. Now, I might be getting a little weetsy-oatsy for some people, but I really, truly believe that living in positivity is the only way to get through this. You can make the choice to live in happy instead of sad. This is traumatic time. Understand, we are grieving for what was. We are grieving for our normal. Grief takes time, but you can choose and make the choice to live in grief of happy. And how do you do that? Is through gratitude. Everyone, please, every night before you go to bed or every morning when you get up, write a list of 10 things that you are thankful for. What are you grateful for? And the more you write that list, the more you're going to understand just how much there is to be grateful. It's cold here today. It's going to be 38 degrees in Pennsylvania tonight. I can't even believe it. But I was able to start a fire. I have my farm to come to. It got me out of New York City. I am so grateful for my life, and that's what keeps me going. I want this life to continue, and I know that if my life continues, if I fill my car with gas, I can drive my crew around. I can drive my family around. I can be there for all my people. And you have to be there for your people right now. I say, no matter where you go, there you are. So live. I love that. No matter where you go, there you are. Live in the now. This is where you are right now. The past is in the past. Let it go. Let it go. And you don't know what the future brings. No one does. So look out for number one. When you're fueling yourself, things, don't feel guilty about not getting stuff done. You got a little time now. Sorry. Declining a social call, that's okay. If you see someone calling that's going to zap your energy, don't answer the damn phone. It's really simple. Text them and say, talk to you later. Thanks for your call. Say no. No is as powerful as yes. And accept your imperfections. You're not perfect. I'm sorry. Every one of us wants to be. That's why we're in this business. We want to create happy and joyful, and we want to be perfect, and we want to have the perfect timeline, and we want load ins to go perfectly, and we want everybody to be happy. And sometimes that doesn't happen. And right now, we've got brides who are losing their damn minds, and we have to take care of ourselves first, and then we can take care of them. Well, how's that for a long answer?
Well, I think it's something that we all need to hear. I remember when you were here last, we all stood up and did the breathing exercise, and it did sort of kind of calm the room down. And of course, I miss those moments. Amazing that we were in one room, but I think the gratitude and the breathing and just realizing imperfection, I think a lot of us perhaps thought that, we'd have completely organized our homes and our lives, and some eager beavers got to that and some probably didn't, but it's good to know that it's okay.
Yeah, Karen, I was doing these little daily videos. I don't know if some of you saw them on Instagram or Facebook. I was doing little daily inspiration videos. And my second day, I had just arrived at the farm, and I was like, I'm going to listen to the entire Beethoven Ninth Symphony today because I haven't done that in forever. That was 2 months ago, and I still haven't done it, But part of what I'm doing to take care of myself is I am planning a victory garden. I kind of panicked and went, oh my God, the world's coming to an end. There won't be any food. I have to grow all the food I possibly can. And so I've gotten manic about gardening. I've been outside the whole time. I told you yesterday, I counted how many tomato plants I planted, and it was 216. And that's a sign of madness or compulsive or something. So hope y'all like maters.
I will help you can.
All right, please.
You mentioned everything from the fabulous tomatoes to the line of credit. Are there other things that you're doing in your specific business that's kind of helping get through this?
Well, it is a double-edged sword. I still have everybody on staff. It's only 10 people, and PPP has helped me do that. And we've got them fairly busy. But, last week I said, people, that money's going to run out, and I don't know that there's going to be more free money floating around out there. I truly believe that 2021 is going to blow all of our doors in. I also truly believe I don't know how we're going to get from September to January, February, other than being smart and being upfront. We've started, we have a big project out. We haven't negotiated it yet, but this huge project that says, if you want to pay all up, we'll give you a 3% discount on the bottom line. It never hurts to ask. We usually ask for 50%. If you want to pay it all up front because these are troubled times and you want to get a discount, we'll be glad to help you out. We are being ruthless. I'm losing a warehouse. We've talked about losing our office because suddenly we realize that we actually do get a lot done online with Zoom calls, and we're not chatting in the office. We're getting stuff done. Don't know yet what our New York landlord's going to let us do, but we can always just kind of walk away. But we're going to say, you don't want us to do that because our building is full of art galleries, and I'm quite sure all those art galleries are gone. So you work with us. That is the thing that I preach to every one of my staff, is the phrase, can you work with us? What can you do for us? It never hurts to ask. There is a big designer, I don't know if I should use his name, a designer planner in New York who pays $8 a month rent for his space, and went to his landlord and said, I can't afford this anymore. I'm not going to afford this anymore. We're pulling out. And the landlord came back and said, what can you pay? And he said, $2,000. And the landlord said, great, it's yours. And I'll give you 60 days notice to get out if somebody wants the space. So I think it's all about bargaining. Respectful bargaining, but everybody's hurting. That's the thing. The entire world is hurting, not just you. So real estate people have to make money. Yes, New York landlords have an awful reputation, but real estate taxes, and they still have to pay staff, and they still have to clean these buildings. So they have to make something. But we're going to lose a warehouse, possibly losing our office, or renting it out as like a WeWork space for people in our industry, which I think is a very viable thing because we already have the tech there. I don't want to pay to have all the tech moved. I don't know where I would move it to. I don't want to change the stationery. In New York City, you're talking about $100,000 to move an office. Boom. Yeah. And so we're weighing out all those numbers. And, I got the staff together last week and said, we have September to December. You better, by God, figure out some alternative sources of income. I don't care what it is. We have to pivot. We can't sit back and wait for the phone to ring. Pick up the phone, call clients and say, what can we do for you? You want a concierge? We can be your concierge. You want to send something, a package out to all your clients to let them know you're still there? We can do that for you. We can do anything you want. Let us know. So we're in a creative business.
And I think all of us there's been so many of our members that have, done the pivot, as we kind of have grown fond or weary of, but have become
weary.
Have been, serving, using all their catering and wonderful food skills to buy a meal and give a meal to first responders, or, people in the rental of linens have two of our, have made masks. Another one of our members in the clothing industry have also had access. And, I think it does your heart good when that happens, although maybe not everyone can make the turn. But, now that I guess restrictions are being lifted, have you seen, I guess all of us kind of want a playbook, and I realize one doesn't exist, but with restrictions being lifted, what sort of things are you experiencing and focusing on?
Well, with restrictions being lifted, if we lift this, there are no rules. The government is not supplying rules because no one knows, and no one wants to go out on the limb to say these are the rules, because someone in our lovely litigious society, someone's going to come back and go, but you said. So they're being really kind of sneaky about going, okay, we don't want rules. We're taking these rules away, but we're not telling you what the rules are moving forward. So now it falls on us as business owners. Certainly you have to look out for your personal needs and that of your family, and then that of your company. I think it's you and family, and then company. And if the company has to go, the company has to go. You have to be ruthless. I know we're all trying to keep it going because that's what we know, but perhaps there's something better out there, and I'll get to that. Local laws, you have to check your local laws and get it in writing. Get everything in writing. Redo your contract. I don't know about your contract, but my contract, the force majeure, did not cover COVID, and that makes me meaner than a snake because I think it is an act of God, but it wasn't, and so we are not covered. Interruption of business insurance, somehow they found a way around that. It sucks. It's part of it. So now we have spent a lot of time with a lawyer retooling our contract, especially for pandemic, because this isn't going away. People are going to be having to make choices. If the local government cancels, we understand and we can work with you. If you choose to cancel, that's your problem and you lose your money. And so everybody has an idea of fees, and we just can't get into that right now. But everybody's approaching it differently, and I think it is a case-by-case basis. There's going to be a second wave. It's going to happen. So make sure your contract is covered now. Employees, ask them what they think. That's really important. There is a rental company in LA that opened. Rental companies in Los Angeles were considered essential because they were supplying chairs, tents, and things like that to hospitals and check-in stations and things like that. However, the employees didn't want to go to work, and now they're dealing with 20 employee lawsuits of opening for one day. So be careful. You got to think about how to transport your staff, how do I get, if I have a party in New Jersey, how am I going to get my staff from New York City to New Jersey safely without someone going, you put me in peril? In down there, I think everybody can drive their car. And then what do you do with the cars? But, your vendors, are they willing to supply you? That's a big deal. I do a lot of flowers. Can I get flowers from Holland? I can, but just so you know, the flower situation right now is flowers are coming into the country, but they used to travel on commercial flights that were coming in and out every day. Commercial flights aren't there. They'll be coming back on, they'll be going out on June 3rd, but we don't know still how many flights are going to come out. American Airlines grounded 1,700 planes last week permanently. So flight schedules are not going to be what they were. Flowers are the last thing to get loaded. And if everything on a freighter plane gets loaded and there's no room, they sit on the tarmac. Freighter planes are 4 times the cost. So talk to your vendors about what flowers are going to cost, what anything is going to cost. Can you get it from China? I know that LED lights for Christmas are made in China, but the wire is made in Vietnam and they couldn't cross the borders. So Christmas is just going to be a mess. And your vendors, our caterers going to be able to get enough waiters to show up, and how will the waiters handle? Rubber gloves and masks aren't elegant. You have to make sure your client has that and knows that. I know I'm going way over my time, Karen. I'm sorry.
No, you're fine. We do have a question, so I'm going to let Alex come in and answer or ask the question, please.
Yeah, so we have a question, David, regarding pivoting. Some caution about losing our brand if we pivot away from our specialty. Any thoughts on that?
Would you rather pivot and have a livelihood or not pivot and lose your brand?
Good point.
That's something you have to answer. Right now, by God, I might be making David Beam's This'll Do Farm Bloody Mary mix and putting it on Amazon. There you go. I'll put my name on anything right now. I don't care.
And it'll be Divine Bloody Mary mix. No doubt.
It's really good. I use cow manure on my maters.
And we didn't just have 2 other questions come in if we still have a second. I think these are good questions.
All right.
So currently the guidelines for venues and catering is that tables cannot have anything preset, tableware, glassware, that kind of thing. So how would you suggest handling plated dinners? Buffets, obviously we can do silverware that's wrapped, but for plated meals, it doesn't make sense. Well, for buffets. Stations, I guess, is maybe the other alternative there.
I don't think you can do that either.
Well, not easily. No.
Yeah, I think guidelines are going to come down. You're going to, I'm sorry, I have a little, it may be cold, but the trees are really blooming up here today.
Combo.
I think bartenders are going to have to be 6 feet away from each other, and you're only going to have 2 bartenders behind the bar. I don't believe you're going to have any buffets. If you do, people are going to have to serve and then walk over in hand. Nobody can get near food. I think you got to think cafeteria.
Right.
How can you approach that? I think it's cafeteria and wraps for the moment. I can't even believe those things are coming out of but why not make the best of it? Here you go. Here's your cafeteria tray. Put people in old lady hairnets, and the white, unflattering dresses and big clunky shoes. And here you go. Here's your beef bourguignon. I think that's going to have to be the answer. We have to wait to see what the guidelines are. But I know that people aren't going to be able to go to a buffet.
Right.
I don't think.
So for plated, again, I think that was more where the question was geared towards and your suggestion would be, well, it's going to have to be rolled silverware. There's really no way around it.
Yeah.
And then
it's very sad. But, the truth is, with all these people walking by, if someone sneezes, you're going to have to clean a whole table instead of taking a roll up and exchanging it. Think about that.
Right.
You won't want to eat at that table. And that was one point that I didn't bring up is, would you want to come to your party? We've got a lot of people traumatized about this COVID. And I've got planners going, I don't want to go there. Would you want to be a guest there? Dancing? Somebody sweating? Pretty. I think I'm going to host 20-person non-dancing weddings here on the farm, and we'll live stream it out to guests, and everybody can have a champagne toast and have a beautiful, lovely evening. But I don't think there's going to be dancing and sweating and
that actually leads directly into the next question. It's almost like you just knew. And this is coming from one of our DJs. Is any strategies you've seen or heard of for a dance floor?
You could put grid off clear shower curtains and everybody just dances in their own shower curtain. Perhaps along with the silent DJ, the headphone silent DJ thing. Everything's big in Texas. You all better make those dance floors really big, and maybe grid it off. I'm sorry to be exasperated, but one, we haven't seen the guidelines, but it's going to be 6 feet. I saw the other day a restaurant took those big ass inner tubes that you float down the river and put them on wheels, the 6 feet, so you bumper car around the bar. I don't think that's an option, but the Inn at Little Washington, which is 3 Michelin star in Virginia, is worried about people feeling alone. So they're putting, I can't even, it can't be true, but I've seen the article twice. They're putting mannequins in seats so that the restaurant feels more full. I don't think that's an option either. But does that answer? I know that doesn't answer your question, but that's the best I got.
Well, you know what? We got to get creative, right? We're got to get creative.
Yeah,
so that's
you're gonna get
Yep. So all right. Sorry. Do we want to continue on? And then we did have 2 more come in, but
why not? Let's go ahead and answer.
This is kind of a follow up from again, Mr. Rick Bennett. What do you think about not having a dance floor, but having the dance spaces between the tables?
Well, isn't that an interesting? I really hadn't thought about that. I wonder, in my New York mind, that would never work because it would just don't have the room. But you have bigger room down there. I don't think that's such a bad idea. If you can, again, get somebody at the health department to sign off on it before you sell it. Number 1, get the guest to sign off on it. Number 2, get your health officials to sign off on it and get everything in writing so the liability doesn't come back on you and someone saying, well, it was his idea, it's his fault. You have to get everything signed off on. But do furniture pods with a little dance floor for each, do like a vignette, a furniture vignette with tables, and then have a dance area for that pod in front of it. That I kind of like that. Go, Rick.
Great. And again, we did have one other thing come through. And again, I think, this is, if you still want to continue with questions, we can hold them to the end.
Sure.
Okay.
No.
Let's talk bathrooms. What do you think will change in relation to that?
You're going to have bathroom monitors, and you're going to have to I think you're going to have to sanitize after every person. So you're going to have 1 stallers. You're probably going to have to bring in portable restrooms so that you can service more people, put them outside and have them sanitized every time. I can't imagine another way around it. Gentlemen, pee in the bushes. Ladies, line up. I hope you don't mind. Something about Texas
No,
makes my
yeah.
country come out. I'm sorry.
You know what? No. I can guarantee you, if there's a line and everyone's having to wait 6 feet apart, that's exactly what's going to happen.
Yeah. Yeah. But I really think you can't, when we were talking about reopening our office, what if a guest what if one of us goes to the bathroom? What happens between us going to the bathroom and the next person? It's a one stall, but are there aerosols that go and just, I think they're out there, but I don't know what they are. And I don't know how to do that and how effective. And there's a lot to learn.
And I think I think people are grappling, and I think, of course, we all get impatient and we're all so used to rolling through our events, that it does, hopefully, in this time, that we all kind of stop and think, because I'm not really sure, we're all eyes and ears will be on that first event that pops up, and it's a lot of pressure.
You better believe it. You don't want to be the one. There was one party in Connecticut that supposedly got the mass started in Connecticut. One party of 50 people, they flew in people from all over the world, and Entertainment Tonight got a hold of it. And I don't know who the party planner was, but I know there was holy hell to pay. They didn't know. They didn't know. But again, you don't know, and I don't know. And do you want to be that person?
No.
No,
sir.
I have not checked the validity of this, but there were, at one of the protests in Wisconsin, 1,000 people showed up and 75 people have COVID now.
I know. Head scratcher.
I saw a meme going around the other day that said, if you need to understand COVID, think that you're gay and you're going to the gay pride parade and one person is wearing glitter, or everybody's changing in the same room and one person is wearing glitter. All 10 of those people are going to have glitter when they go out the door. And it's just like COVID. It's everywhere.
Well, and
I'm sorry if I'm being so uplifting.
No, I love that. No. But I guess for all of us, you've touched on it, but what do you think, when we make it through Christmas and we make it through January, February, and 2021 hits, and here we all are, hopefully ready to hit it. What does the new normal look like? Once this pandemic is under control, if we have a second wave, what's out there?
Well, what's under control? First, you're going to have to define what's under control. Sweden is experimenting with what's under control. Germany's experimenting with under control. They let the kids back into schools and they took them back out this week. So we still don't know what normal is, but I think it's being narrowed down. I really do. But I think the question is, do we really want to go back to normal in the earth? Because I'm not sure it was working so well, what our normal was. Can I read something from Brene Brown? We will not go back to normal. Normal never was. Our pre-corona existence was not normal, other than we normalized greed, inequity, exhaustion, depletion, extraction, disconnection, confusion, rage, hoarding, hate, lack, depression, and lying. We should not return, my friends. We are given the opportunity to stitch a new garment, one that fits all humanity and nature. Not just parties. This is a bigger picture thing. After all, we are made of earth, and the earth experiences seasons, so why shouldn't you? We're in fall or in winter right now, but we have spring coming. It's coming, and it's going to be, and we have the choice to evolve or revolve right back into it. So I think it's our choice. We must be, if we're going to save our earth and our businesses, we have to evolve. Alvin Toffler said, the illiterate of the 21st century will not be those who cannot read or write, but those who cannot learn, unlearn, or relearn. We have opportunities. Opportunities are out there. You can't see them right now, and they're not going to come knocking on your door, but you have to go knocking on their doors. You can be better than your past, and you are the author of your next chapter. You have to decide what story that's going to be.
Big words, but wonderful words.
Well, I hope it's not too, but it's truly the way I feel. We have to evolve into a new society. We are not going to probably go back to making the money we were, but we're still going to make money. A guy who owns a lot of the world, who has invested in a lot of the world, is one of my clients. And in 2008, I thought I was going to close down, and it was all crashing. And I was doing his son's wedding. And I said, if you're in the neighborhood, would you just drop by and look at my books and tell me if I need to close this business down? Because it's so depressing and it's so bad. And he's kind of rolled his eyes and said, of course. And he's just that type of man. I mean, he's on the board of the entire world. And he spent 3 minutes looking at my books and just looked up and said, shut up. Just say yes. You're not going to have the profit margins you were used to. Say yes. Keep money flowing through your business, and it will all work out. And it did. And I believe that can happen again.
Which is truly what we are all hoping for as well. Do you have time for a couple more questions?
For you, yes.
Well, I'm going to let Alex ask them because I, like you, I can't see the chatting in the Q&A. But
Okay.
Alex,
Right.
if you're ready, here we go.
Okay. So I'm going to start with kind of some of these are a little bit on the same wavelength. And again, I think this is going to be so much of it's a variable. But in your opinion, these additional expenses, as far as the cleaning, the additional staffing, the restroom attendants, do you, first of all, what do you have an estimate about how much these additional costs percentage wise might be to a business? And also, who are you, and when you're thinking about this, who are you seeing that would be responsible? Would that be the client? Would this be the venue, the catering company, the individual vendors?
Well, it all has to be figured in by someone. Someone has to be assigned to who's going to be responsible for hiring those people, but it has to be paid for by the client. You can, if you have think about it. If I have a catering tent for staff, the client is still paying for that. That can't be my responsibility because we're there for the client. I don't have any estimates on cost yet. I can't even imagine what it is, but I do think that you're going to or should hire professional services and not have one of your staff who volunteers to do it, because then it can come back on you. Hopefully the service you hire is vetted and somehow accredited. I don't think we have accreditation protocol in place, and we probably won't. But at the same time, I think like we say to our clients, let a professional do it. I think a professional has to do it. And I think it just becomes a line item on somebody. It's probably on the planner's line item, simply because the planner will be the umbrella. But that person that service has to cover the catering area, the staff areas, and the public areas.
Okay, perfect. Thank you so much. The other questions that have come in, it is, and I think this is something that we're all struggling with, is if an event isn't particularly under government or health guidelines, but the client is simply not comfortable holding it, do you think we should allow them to postpone, reschedule without charging any additional cost, or would you consider that a cancellation? This individual is a planner. She said we want to be empathetic, but we have to keep doors open and be viable for our other clients too.
And we have said that to our clients. We are, and this is, that group that I talk to, that is the subject every damn week. And everybody is approaching it differently. Personally, if you postpone within the calendar year, we won't, and you don't change the venue and you don't change ideation. And that's what our contract says. If you stick within the calendar year and you don't change your ideas and you don't change your venue, we won't charge you. If you go beyond the calendar year, chances are you're going to want to change things. So there's that. And we'll probably just assess a design fee or a staff fee or something. But if you change the venue, you're dealing with a new party, period. And that's the way we're doing. If you cancel it, you lose your money, because we held that date for you. And if the government is not saying you can't have that party and you choose to cancel, then we keep the non-refundable deposits.
Perfect. Okay, last question that we've got here is, do we require guests to sign any kind of waiver upon entrance to the event? If so, who is going to be responsible for that? Venue, planner, host?
All this new crap keeps coming out of the woodwork. I think the planner hires someone on behalf of the client, and that person works independently of the planner, I believe. Don't you think, Karen?
I think so, because I'm not really sure how you're going to eliminate the bias. And I think, whether it's more through the legal, I had a conversation earlier with an attorney hoping that she could point us in the direction of, how to deal with legal issues. And she told me that there's a whole cottage industry that's kind of popped up dealing with COVID.
Oh, you bet.
So,
yeah. You bet it is.
I have.
But what if Uncle Ernie shows up? If Uncle Ernie shows up and you're the planner and you're going to suddenly have to deal with Uncle Ernie, who doesn't want to wear a mask and put everybody else in peril, you can't be, that could take you away for a half an hour from the party. So I think there has to be an independent, non-emotional attachment person who enforces and assures that everyone is within the rules set forth by the host.
Yeah, because I think, your guests aren't going to monitor themselves perhaps all the time. The venue's got their staffing, all the other vendors. I mean, and the planner, I don't think I know any of our wonderful planners that would want that responsibility and say, oh yeah, it's fine. I mean, I'm hoping that, but I don't even know what that would look like.
Yeah, well, there's another cottage industry, checking people. And it is going to have to be check-in, and it's going to have to be temperature check. And it's probably eventually, God forbid, are you going to have an antibody passport that says you've had it? And once they determine if antibodies are, if you can get it again, is that a thing? Will it be a thing? Is it morally right? No, but then you can get people into the party safely. The mind just reels over how new it is, but you are going to have to temperature check everybody. In the line coming in, they're going to have a 6 feet by 6 feet for a couple, moving through. So not only do you have it, there's no longer, hi, Mrs. So welcome to the party. Stop right here. Don't move. We have to take your temperature. Have you had it? These are our rules for every person coming into that party.
Truly a new normal.
Yes. Yeah.
Oh,
If
my
you
goodness.
believe it, we have more questions.
Well, I'm here. If you all are still hanging on, so am I.
All right. There's one in particular that that I think that's applicable to everybody. Requests that are saying this is force majeure clause in the contract, and they're asking for a refund of the deposit.
I think that has to be turned over to a lawyer, because truthfully I've been told by a lawyer that I haven't read this person's force majeure, but most force majeures going into this said war, fire, national, whatever, but it did not say pandemic. And if it doesn't say pandemic, you're screwed.
Right.
I fought it on one client who canceled 2 weeks out, and I said, how about this? This is how much money we have spent on you thus far, time, material, all of that. And I have already hired all of these people, and this is how much it would cost. I have hired them. They are counting on the money. I'm charging you to pay them a 4-hour minimum. At least it's something, because they don't have a chance to rebook their time. They were counting on this. So I could charge you an 8-hour day. I'm only going to charge you a 4 to give them something. And they didn't like it, but we came to an equitable agreement.
Well, and hopefully people will be more understanding. I'm hoping that, we turn into nicer versions of ourselves.
Sorry, people are, when it comes to money, people are not understanding, but there is a whole group, we were talking about the conundrum. The 1% of the 1% are calling going, well, we can just private everybody out. Well, what about my staff? You're going to fly them on private, or are you going to put them on a commercial liner? They're not going to go. And how do you handle that? I'm talking to a client about a huge wedding in Italy next year, and I would have done a site inspection by now. I'm not getting on a plane unless you're flying me private to Italy, and that's not going to happen. And even flying private, how do I know that plane's been totally sterilized?
That's true.
You know what, David, that brings up a really good point. And I know that I'm not supposed to ask questions, but
you absolutely can.
But you touched on something earlier that I think that this doesn't apply to everybody, but for a lot of us it does. How are you dealing with your employees that don't feel comfortable with something, if an event is going to still carry on? How would you suggest handling that to avoid a lawsuit as well?
We are continuing the dialogue. I've already started that dialogue and already asked them to start thinking about what their answers are going to be. We are going to, I'm going to say be positive and say when we go back to the office, we are going to rotate schedules. Half the team will be work from home, half the team will work in the office, and then we'll have somebody to sanitize the place in between. When we go on site, I'm going to have an email that says they agree to be there, and that we will do everything within our power to make them safe. And if they have any concerns on site that they feel unsafe, they are to bring it to us immediately, and they will be addressed immediately. And I think that's about all you can do. And cross your fingers behind your back. I
Definitely.
liability wise, can you prove where they got it?
Probably not.
Not really.
I don't know these answers, and I don't think the lawyers know either.
No, I think it's very uncharted territory. One question that came in here that I think is interesting is dealing with a bride that asked to reschedule, and then when the rescheduled date were available, but now she wants to cancel and get her money back. So this is basically a choice. I think this probably goes into the force majeure.
Yeah.
Kind of
may I
thing
say
we talked
the
about.
word? Karen, may I say the word?
You may.
Tough shit. Tough shit. Sorry. You changed your mind.
No, it's
That's great. I love that answer.
Come on.
I know.
And I'm not that person, but there comes a time when enough's enough.
Sure.
Sorry.
No.
And let me know. Let me say, I know that's not that easy, but that's what you want to say right at the time, and that's what I said.
Yeah. And then we have somebody that's a planner says, what would you suggest as far as if the venue isn't willing to change the date? As a planner, do you fight? How would any tips on helping with pushback?
Are they willing? Are they unwilling to change the date?
The venue won't change the date, or offer a comparable date, I would say.
I think not offering a comparable date is unacceptable. I get it. I don't want my head served up on a platter by venues, but there has to be some humanity here. You have to bob and weave and flex and work with people, because you know what? The minute you say, no, I'm not working with you, that mouth is going to start wagging all over town. And I'll never, and they're going to badmouth you. Or if you are able to work with them, they're going to, again, positivity. If you're able to work with them, they're going to sing your praises all over town. So which do you want?
She in particular said this venue is not allowing any postponements.
Well, karma's a bitch. It's a real bitch, and it's going to come back to bite them, because they now have people all over town going, they wouldn't work with me. I wouldn't go there if I were you.
Right. Yeah.
Because especially now, people have time to sit around and gab, and they're gonna. And, and planners are going to be reticent to bring people there. If you're not going to work with my client, I don't want to work with you.
True.
Very true.
The karma.
Karma is a real thing.
So,
very last question. And again, I've thought about this one too. I just think this is interesting, where the responsibility would lie. Again, this is from Mr. DJ Rick Bennett, who got a big shout out earlier. Does it make sense to only have families at each table instead of what we're used to doing, where the client puts the unimportant folks together, etc.?
I think you can. I haven't approached this mainly because I'm a designer and not a planner, but I think you are going to have to say who is in your family and who can sit at your table. And I don't think there's any more mixing up. You don't want to be sitting next to someone who you don't know. I wouldn't want to, or is it just a really great cocktail party, and, with, you can't pass tray food even, but you can come out and say, have this here, one at a time. Here's a dome. Here, this is for you. Here, this is for you. You caterers, God bless you. I don't know how you're going to handle this, but maybe it is a cocktail style party that an individual gets served a forkable small meal, and then another forkable small meal comes out, and 10 waiters are assigned to 10 people, and they handle those 10 people, making sure they are fed and watered the whole time.
Yeah.
Is
There's
that
no right
doable?
answer.
No, but I think if you're going to be dancing, you're going to want to be dancing someone near someone and not someone you don't know.
Agreed.
Yeah.
Oh my goodness. Lots of
We're in the
those are all the
money.
questions.
The skies are sunny. Yeah. We're going to figure it out. We are absolutely going to figure it out. And may I end with, this came up on the interwebs this morning, and I loved it. And remember the actor Andy Griffith?
Oh yeah.
From
Yes.
Mayberry
RFD.
RFD. Yeah. We just showed our age, didn't we, Karen?
We did. That's okay.
This is a quote from Andy Griffith. I firmly believe that in every situation, no matter how difficult, we are given grace greater than hardship and the strength and peace of mind that can lead us to a place higher than we were before. Let me read that one more time a little. I firmly believe that in every situation, no matter how difficult, we are given grace greater than hardship and the strength and peace of mind that can lead us to a place higher than we were before. And I think that's a beautiful way to end up. Have faith, keep breathing, and know we're going to get through it. It may not be the way you want, and you may not be the person you thought you were going to be, but you're still going to be here because you're needed. We are all needed and valued in this world.
Thank you so much. I think that's something that we all needed to hear. I don't really love being the president of an organization in a pandemic, but it does just make me.
But you are, Blanche, you are.
I know, but just all of our members, all the board, there's 12 of us on the board that just absolutely work tirelessly in communicating and planning and retooling, and none of this happens one-on-one. It all, as we know, happens together. And I think hopefully if we all stay together and keep together, that, like you said, we will all indeed get through this.
Onward and upward.
Agreed.
Thanks, everybody.
Thank you. Thank everyone for coming. Thank you.
Thank
Bye-bye.
you. So Karen, I'm going to go ahead and put up our last little piece here.
Very good.
All right. So thank you, David.
No more bow tie. I wonder where that bow tie is. I wonder where my suits are. They're all in New York.
So for everyone that has attended, we will be sending out an online survey. Again, the wonderful board, all 12 of us, we look over it. We really value everyone's opinions and thoughts and ideas because, like it or not, we truly are all in this together. So anything you want us to discuss or help you with, please fill out your survey and we will take a great look at it. So thank you all.
And thank you again to Mr. David Beahm. Fantastic. If we can all, I know that I can't put you all on unmute, but if we can all just give a big round of applause. We just so enjoyed you being with us last year, and thank you again for doing this with us today.
It was my sincere pleasure.
We appreciate you.
All right. Take care, everybody.
Thank you.